Hello, everyone. I'll just wait for a few more of you to join in. Hello. Yeah. Hi, I'm Vani Murthy. I belong to a team called Solid Waste Management Roundtable in Bangalore, and we've been trying to deal with different ways to decentralized waste management, trying to get more and more people to participate in the city's waste management. And I've been a homemaker, and 12 years back, I had a chance to get out of my comfort zone and actually take on things outside home. And it's a pleasure to be on Lamil's Insta handle. And today I'll just take you through a little bit on what it is to understand waste and how do we actually start looking at a sustainable way to leave this planet a better place for the future for the future generations that are coming ahead. So let me first start off saying that waste is a huge problem. It's a humongous problem, and most of us waste needs to get out of our homes. That's what we are used to. So we don't realize there is a lot of resources that get lost once it leaves your home, and also it lands up in places where it actually pollutes. So where does waste go when it leaves your home? It's either in the drains or in the rivers, on the lakes or in the oceans. We all heard about the huge Pacific patch where a lot of garbage gets collected, and also it is dumped in the landfills. These are dump yards and mountains of garbage, mixed waste going there and creating huge concerns for the planet, because one of the things that happens is 60% of what we discharge is organic waste, that's wet waste that comes out of a kitchen, and that gets trapped in these landfills because they keep compacting it and it grows like mountains, and these will start to break down anaerobically, releasing methane. We all know methane is deadly. It is 20 times to 25 times worse than carbon dioxide, and that is contributing to the greenhouse gases. And that is something that we all should know, that our kitchen peels after we eat what we have discharged is creating the climate change, the global warming. So we are directly impacting. And secondly, the soil gets contaminated there because leachate is the dark liquid that runs off these landfills. They enter the water table and it contaminates the water table. So in many ways, we are actually creating more problems by sending our waste out. So what are the solutions that we participate in managing the waste that we generated? It is our waste and we should take complete responsibility. And how are we doing that? First, to recognize what are the different kinds of waste that comes out of our homes. What are we generating? So that's number one. So once we look at things that we are generating and how can we look at alternatives, right from saying no to disposables, saying no to a bottled water and saying yes to carrying your own water, to saying no to the straw, having alternates to the straw like a steel straw, and paper cups, because paper cups do have a plastic in them. So no to a paper cup, and anything that is reusable again and again should be encouraged. And definitely all of us looking at sustainable menstruation, going back to alternatives to disposable pads. So anything that is used once and thrown, like paper bags, instead a cloth bag, carrying your own cloth bag could be great. Instead of gifting presents in things like this which are non-recyclable and which become waste after some time, why not use more earth-friendly material instead of using them? So these are all alternatives to the to the problem itself, and the solution lies in our hands. Once we look at these, that we create less trash. Less trash means saying no to the disposable, single-use disposable, and finding all the alternatives, right from not having a toothbrush which is plastic, bamboo toothbrushes, to clips that we use to dry our clothes, to so many things that we can replace instead of buying plastic, which gets into this environment, and you don't know where it is going to end up, and it's going to stay on this planet for a very long time, because we as a species are the only human species are the only people who discharge things or manufacture and create things that the earth can't digest. So it's going to stay on this earth for a very long time, and that's a huge concern for all of us, and we need to look at different alternatives. So once you look at a sustainable way of living, right from your clothes, your fashion, to in everyday life, you can create something that's more sustainable. And to me, composting is amazing way to actually take it to all the way. So before composting, you have to look at segregation at source as a very important thing, because unless you put your waste into different categories, there is no value added, because unless they are separated and kept into different categories, then you create more value in waste, and that is a good resource that can be recycled. So all your dry waste, like right from your milk covers to your shampoo bottles to anything that you generate at home, bits of paper, cinema tickets, air tickets, everything can go back for recycling. And only 10% of your trash is actually reject waste, which is like sanitary waste, which is broken bottles, which needs to actually go to the concerned authorities to get properly treated. Otherwise, most of it is good resource. 60% is your kitchen peels. This is an amazing resource that all of us generate, right from our fruit peels to vegetable peels, all that we have eaten, that can be magically converted into this black gold. This is one of the most amazing things that we can all generate, because this gives us an understanding of what nature is, because this is living soil. This is the soil that has life. It has microorganisms, earthworms, everything. So today we have depleted soil because of overuse of chemicals in agriculture. Food is actually poisoned right now. Whatever we eat on our plate, if we know that it's not come from a natural agricultural practices, but it has come from the supermarket or from large scale growing, then definitely there is so much of toxins in that, and that's not the ones that we need to put into our body. Instead, if we look at how we can create that beautiful soil, the magical soil, out of the organic waste that we generate, and then start, even in the smallest spaces, start growing something for our own homes. I have a little terrace where I grow the fresh vegetables. I can't grow all my vegetables, but definitely I can grow some of them. I have these brinjals that I plucked today. There is a cauliflower that's just come from my terrace today, mooli. So I'm just showing you, even if you have windowsills, you can grow your herbs, the lovely herbs that you can grow. So anything and everything is possible when we look at getting in touch with nature, staying close to nature, because it teaches us so many things. And I think the way we live changes completely when we get our hands touching the soil and creating that magical soil and making these amazing changes. We also look for how we can source our food which is grown in natural soil or natural practices of agriculture. So I'm a part of a CSA, that is community supported agriculture. So I get a weekly basket of all my food everything, right from my groceries to my vegetables to my fruits, everything comes from that source which all the farmers are growing naturally. So we can all hook up to such things and make our lives healthier. It's going to be cleaner because we're not throwing out waste, and we are diverting it away from landfill. So there are so many things that we can do to make our lives and the planet's health. Planet's health is extremely important. The planet's health is directly affecting our health. So if we can contribute to that better. Today all of us talk about the climate change and how many things that we can do. You just don't sign a petition for things, but actually take action. Daily action could be composting. And daily action could be saying no to anything that is single use and disposed, because they are all using energy. All of them are being transported. They carry carbon miles, and then you use it once and you throw away. So it really does not make any sense, because every other creature on this planet lives in sync with nature. they're a part of nature. We are the ones who have removed ourselves. So nothing like getting back to nature, looking at how important it is that we all contribute, because there is this future that's going to come ahead of us. There's a saying that we do not inherit this planet, but we borrow it from our future. And that's so important, that we leave something behind, something that is of, important, and it gives them a better life. If not the way we received, make it a little better, but don't trash it and make it bad. So with this, I will try to take some questions if people have. Thank you so much for all of you who are joining in. There's someone who asked me about thank you. Oh, this is tough. I don't know how people keep looking for questions. हिंदी में बोलो मैम. हिंदी में क्या बोलूँ मैं? कि हमारा कचरा जो आता है उससे हम खाद बना सकते हैं. और बहुत ही सिंपल है. वी ऑल कैन लर्न हाउ टू. देयर आर प्लेंटी ऑफ आजकल इफ़ यू गो ऑन गूगल आपको सब मिल जाएगा. मेरा माई वर्म रानी इज़ माई हैंडल. आई हैव लॉट ऑफ वीडियोज़ एंड इंस्टा स्टोरीज एंड ऑल्सो IGTV that you can check. Deepika is asking, dry coconut husk can be used as dry component of the compost. Yes, you can. You can, but I don't know how much of it you will get, because you need a lot of dry matter, because our kitchen waste is very wet. It is a lot of moisture, so we need enough dry matter. So what we generate at home as dry coconut husk may not be enough for your composting process. So, but definitely it is a good dry component. Can you show us step-by-step guide to composting? I have limited time on this handle, but you can look at my IGTVs. Probably I'll do one soon again. Yes, composting is a wonderful way, to get close to nature, to create that magical soil, and actually start growing something in your own homes. Because when you grow even one single chilies or a tomato or a beans, you understand the value of nourishing food. Because unless we put organic matter back into soil, the soil is not nourished. If the soil gets organic matter, then life thrives in it. And when life thrives, then the plant that grows on it is highly nourished, and that in turn nourishes us. So you can see the cycle. It's a natural cycle that happens all the time on the planet, if we don't interfere with it. So that's something that we all need to start looking at. How to use tea in the compost. So the regular tea that you put, you can add to your compost, because anything that comes out of your kitchen, like your vegetable peels, fruit peels, tea, coffee powder, and eggshells. So it is an aerobic composting allows all this, but only thing, non-veg and dairy we don't add in aerobic. So there are different kinds of composting. Composting is like a workshop I need to take, so maybe we'll do that another day. What about cooked waste in our daily kitchen? Yes, Style Mermaid, we can put our cooked waste, but only thing is you have to drain out all the excess water, because composting is all about the balance. It shouldn't get too soggy. So if you put too much of cooked food and your green waste without enough browns, which will maintain the balance, then it becomes a little bit difficult. So that it starts to smell, because most people when they start composting, they say it was stinking, it was too soggy, and a lot of worms and creepy crawlies. So there is a learning curve. You cannot get composting, you cannot, like cooking, you can't cook a great dish first time you try. So give composting a little bit of time. It teaches you patience. You need to be patient, and then it just happens, right? So it becomes very addictive. So we can definitely put our kitchen waste. Just make sure that you drain out all the excess waste. If suppose you have a gravy, put it in a colander and remove all the excess, squeeze out the water and put only the solid part. Do we have to wash the used tea leaves or run it through? No need. Madhu, you don't have to wash the tea leaves. You can put that little bit of milk in that. Will not really. I have been composting for 11 years now, so I have put my tea leaves, no issues at all. I'm a beginner in kitchen waste management. Please give me basic tips. Yes, all the tips that I gave right now are the basic ones, right from keeping your waste segregated, put your dry waste in. See, in Bangalore, we have a system called 2 bin 1 bag. One bin, the green bin is for all your kitchen waste, the red bin is for reject, and the bag is for all the recyclables. So anything that, if suppose you cut a milk sachet, make sure that you clean it, dry it, and put it so that it doesn't get rejected at the recycling center, because recycling takes a lot of energy if you have to clean it. So when we are cleaning our other things in our kitchen, we can also clean that little a takeaway box or anything that we can. So these are small things that if you can segregate it and hand it over segregated, and then you can compost your kitchen waste, I think your waste in your house is completely done. But the biggest tip is reduce the amount of waste, reduce packaging, carry your own, try to go source, instead of buying the biscuit packet, go to a bakery, take your box and buy the biscuits from the bakery directly in your box, so that you can skip the packaging. So we can try different. It takes time. Don't push everything into try to become very sustainable, because it doesn't happen. Zero waste is like a goal for a very long time. Even at the end of my life, I can't be zero waste. You have a lot of people showing you a bottle of this is what I generated in 1 year. That's impossible right now. When you start, it's not about zero waste. It's about how do we pick up all these practices? How are we going to make them a daily practice and continue it? You have to sustain the practice. It's not like you did it once, you did it twice, and then you forgot about it. You have to continue the practice. And yes, I wish you the best for that. What are the simple herbs, veggies that are easily grown? Yes, Manavi. You can actually anything, as long as you get a good seeds. Like you can try growing coriander at home, methi at home with the seeds that you have. Then basil is very easy. It comes because basil is a good companion crops for tomatoes, so you can put basil along with that. Many herbs you can find seeds, or you can buy saplings at a nursery, because that's much faster. Sometimes seeds don't germinate, probably you'll overwater, so they may not do well. So best when you're starting for the first time, make sure you go to a good nursery where you get the saplings of all your herbs and then pick it up. Mint, just a stick of mint. When you buy the mint from the market, take the thickest stem, and then root it, put it in water for a few days, and then put it in soil. You'll get mint. So that it is like, again, experiential. Composting and growing your food is experiential. How much ever you learn, until you do, you will never understand and go ahead. What to do if compost has become soggy? Anjali is asking. Yes, that's one of the biggest problems. Why does it happen? Why does it become soggy? You need to understand. Excuse me. So why does it become soggy is something that we need to understand. It becomes soggy when your green part is more than the brown part. Brown parts are dry leaves, because I haven't done a process of composting here. I'm just showing what it becomes finally. But along with the greens that you put, you need enough browns, like crushed dry leaves. It could be cocoa peat. It could be, there are different materials that you can put as browns. And then if this becomes more and the browns are less, then it becomes very soggy. So you need to make sure that you have twice the amount of browns to one part of greens. You need 2 times the amount of browns. Can you please tell me what should not go inside a compost? When you're doing aerobic composting, the microbes that act are all aerobic in nature, and they don't do very well when there is too much of compaction. right? So it needs to be loose and it needs to be turned once in a while. And what can't go is in home composting especially, try to avoid non-veg waste and also dairy, because non-veg waste, when it's rotting, it can smell, and that could attract rats and other things. So that's one of the reasons. And also it has pathogen problems because there's not enough heat in home composting. If it's a large scale composting, non-veg waste is fine in aerobic composting because a lot of heat is generated and the pathogens get killed. So there is a science behind composting, but all we need to know is the art of composting. That's all we need to learn. It's like cooking, you read recipe books and all, till you do, then you learn the art of cooking, right? So you try dishes, you put combinations, permutations and combinations, and then you get a great dish and you have learned the art. Ma'am, can you guide us on vegetables start to grow? You can grow tomatoes, chilies. I started with just 4 pots. Tomatoes, chilies, and maybe basil I had put as a herb, and brinjals. Brinjals do very well. They are absolutely no problem. So you can grow what you want to eat. Try to find good seeds. Online you get open pollinated seeds that you can put and you can grow. Can be, Deepika is again asking, can be compensated with newspapers and cardboard. Ideally, newspapers have to go for recycling because you cut down trees to make paper, and paper shouldn't get lost in composting. It has to go back to recycling. That's important. Of course, cardboard, you can use some of it, especially if you really want to compost right away and you don't have dry leaves because it's rainy season. There are no dry leaves available. So you can shred the cardboard into smaller pieces and you can add. They are browns, but ideally not put in compost, but for recycling. How often should we rotate compost is what Ushma asks. Sorry, I got your name wrong. So you need to rotate or turn the pile once in 4 to 5 days. Nowadays you get easy. You don't have to turn. You get a kind of coco peat along with some microbes. So you just layering method is there. So when we launch Swachhagraha, that's what we launch to make it easier for urbanites who have less space, and want to compost. Make it easier for them. So we had started that. So turning the pile once in 4-5 days, you're introducing oxygen. Because the lower part starts to compact, then the microbes that actually are breaking down your compost starts to perish, and we don't want that. We want them to colonize and grow and quickly turn our compost, our vegetable peels into compost. How to start? I would be happy to keep aside my wet waste from today. And is there a way to save it until start the process? Once I look, right, you can put it in your fridge in a box, the vegetable peels. So start off with just vegetable peels. Don't put your food waste and all that. Just start off things that you can manage. Once you get a hang on composting, definitely you can. So that's fantastic to hear. Parinda Memore. Parinda, that's fantastic to hear that you want to start straight away. That'll be great. It's. I wish everyone takes an action as early as possible about composting, because that's one action that you can take, to make direct everyday, positively you're contributing to the climate change. That's so important. What are the vegetables we can grow? I have already told. Is there Oh, I'm so bad at this scrolling. Is there anything we can do with non-veg waste? Yes, as it stinks after some time. Yes, no, we have another kind of composting called Bokashi method of composting. It's an anaerobic method of composting. See, when you get into the world of composting, it's so addictive because there are such... I do vermicomposting, Bokashi, regular aerobic with dry leaves and, buttermilk and cow dung, and aerobic with the ready-made powders that's available. So the possibilities are plenty. There's no one way of composting. So for definitely, Anamika, for non-veg waste, you can look at Bokashi method of composting, because that's an indoor method. It has 2 parts. Look up Bokashi. That most people who have non-veg, who eat regularly non-veg waste, definitely use that. That method of composting. Do we need to put a mesh at the bottom of the bin? If you're doing it in an apartment, I don't think you should have the bottom open. If it is definitely, if it is in the outdoor that you have a garden, you can definitely put a mesh so that rats don't get inside. So that's a good way. I think I have another 5 minutes. With rampant use of toxic, Viral says, with rampant use of toxic chemicals used to treat our food, won't the same go into the compost? That's a good question. Yeah, part of it, yes, it will go in. But again, I have no answer to that because I have moved away from buying regular food, regular what is available in the store. Most of what I buy is grown naturally in natural soil, so I'm not guilty there. But yes, you definitely, there is it's a valid question that you ask. Any tips on organizing the kitchen garden? Well, start small. It's always better to learn as you have smaller things as challenge. Sometimes they may grow, sometimes they may become yellow. You don't know what's the lack of nutrients. So the thing is, when you start something, you also look up where you can connect to people online. Probably join groups which are all into urban farming, and I think that's the start that we can do. Ma'am, I have a lot of centipedes in my garden. Are they good for garden? I think there is something, there is kind of ecosystem in every garden. The compost has its own ecosystem. The garden has its own ecosystem. As long as it's not bothering you, I think we just let them be, because that's life. That's what it attracts. That little patch of garden that you have attracts whatever it has. So there's nothing bad. Because there are pests, even the plants get some pests, good pests, bad pests, bad pests that eat away your vegetables, or make holes in your leaves. So you can't just prey on the plant, because even the good ones, the beneficial ones, will die. So unless you know the distinction, it's very difficult. So I think थैंक यू हिंदी में बात करो, मेरे को हिंदी उतना अच्छा नहीं आता है. I don't have old compost. Can we add curds? Yes, Madhu, you can add a little bit of sour curds. Yeah, a little bit of it. What's the secret for your beautiful skin? I don't know. I eat good food, organic food, probably that's it. I don't know. How important are fertilizers? Natural fertilizers are very important. Ushma is asking. Yeah, so I think that's it. We have got our 30 minutes, and thank you so much, Lamil, for having me on your platform, and so happy to have met many of your followers. And I will end this now, and happy gardening for everyone. Don't forget to try to make compost, because composting is experiential. So it's amazing, it's magical, and it's very addictive. Thank you so much.